Welcome to the Firespitting with BS01 podcast, where we absolutely roast BIONICLE. I'm Swert, and with me are
Chols,
Dorek,
and Spirit.
Wonderful. And today we are going to be talking about not necessarily controversial, not necessarily bad.
Everything is controversial.
Yeah, probably. Definitely not an interesting topic. I'm going to say that now because I'm sorry, there's just too much of this.
Don't sell it like that. Look, this is interesting.
Set the bar down so that we can go up.
Exactly. Today we're going to be talking about Kraata and all of their many powers. And specifically how it relates to, say, Makuta.
Yeah, and also specifically how a lot of them are really bad.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of bad ones in there. And some redundant ones, too.
Now, should somebody be like keeping track of how many ones we say are good and bad, and we can give a mathematical equation at the end here?
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
That's an idea. Oh, thank you.
You just tally them up.
Because I am currently on my little tablet, so this is not a good idea for me to do.
How am I going to do this?
I have two monitors. I don't have a...
Well, yeah, I have one monitor and a small little keyboard attached to it.
All right, I'll open two Word documents in the most
I'm going to
ghetto
import
way possible.
I'm going to see what I can do. Hang on.
Excel? What am I, a nerd?
Excel, import spreadsheet. Import HTML table into a spreadsheet.
Oh boy.
God help us. Holy crap, it almost worked.
All right.
That's garbage, but we're going to try
it. While you guys are setting that up, I think we will go and start by saying, what are Kraata? Well, Kraata are the Deus Ex Machina of 2003. They are the slug-like creatures of darkness, created from the darkness of Makuta, basically.
I wouldn't quite call them a Deus Ex Machina. Like, you know, they didn't actually factor... Okay, no, that's not true. Are you talking about the fact that, like, you can use a Kraata to somehow find Makuta?
Yes.
Okay.
Eventually, it turns out the thing that he created is the thing that destroys him. Well, destroys is a bad word. To find him.
Well, I mean, the Mask of Light movie is very heavily based on Lord of the Rings, so you can kind of see where they're coming from with that.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mostly just
Lord of the Rings if they somehow killed Sam.
Yeah. It's the line, what is Makuta's will return to him. Like, it sounds really profound, and you think about it, you're like, what?
Actually,
he had
no,
what?
I guess technically Joller would be Frodo in this case, because he was the Herald. And Sam eventually gets such an upgrade that he's able to take on a spider.
That's a whole another rabbit hole to go down.
Oh, yeah.
I can't carry the Mask of Life for you, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you!
Tolkien influences in... BIONICLE sounds like a hole that somebody has entered, and I'm going to let them do it first. See where they end up.
Oh yeah, I'm not touching that with a 30-foot Kraata.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That would be the Kraata of elongation or whatever.
We'll get into the powers here in a minute.
Oh, we will.
But we need to first of all talk about what the Kraata really are and how they relate. So. Officially in canon, the Kraata are essentially essence of Makuta, solidified, and are slug-like creatures which, amongst other things, they infect Kanohi that allows them to control the Matoran, or any Rahi being, or anything that can use a mask. We've seen them use it against Rahi, we've seen them use it against Matoran, we saw it on Liwa. Yes, I'm saying Liwa.
I feel like the inclusion of the Kraata was a very obvious retcon, but, like, I'm okay with it. You know,
yeah, no, I mean, it helps. I don't know. It's on the one hand, it explains something, but on the other hand, is it something that needed explaining in the first place?
I mean,
everything must be explained, Dorek. We must know reason for everything.
Right, not bad.
If we can ask Greg, we can ask Greg everything. Oh, you mean the for when Lewa had an infected mask in the 2001 story? You're saying that was a Kraata infection too?
Oh, no, it wasn't, because he gets his mask back.
Right.
So it wasn't just that he was infected already.
One. But I mean, technically, you know, like all masks were infected by Kraata at some...
I have to ask, which Rahi is capable of swiping the mask off and then putting another one on him? I guess it would be the Nui Kopen is the only one that is shown to hold a mask. But are
the Nui Rama have to shove them on their eyes, and it's really, really annoying for them.
Yeah. Cancer in their eyes, Johnson.
I feel bad for the Tarakava with that, because it's like on their nose.
Where did that mask come from then? Where do they have a spare Miru laying around?
I
guess if
mean,
they have a Pakari for the Tarakava, then I guess you have. But are these powerless masks that are being infected? Where are these masks coming from?
They were all left in Metru Nui in the forge, and like Makuta just has to keep going back every time the Rahi lose one, like, oh, these guys again, and just has to keep rummaging through the dead city. It's like, you thought this was a good plan. Nope.
Well, that's the other thing that, like, it's not really addressed in the story of, like, when characters lose their masks, like Kopeke, or Kopeek, however we decided, loses his mask, they just got a spare one lying around.
right.
With no
Because
explanation.
Because
like-
they've let a retcon and said
But those ones are powerless masks, right? So
Yes.
like I'm assuming it's not that hard to forge a powerless Kanohi, even though it's somehow what keeps them alive. But
Right, but
and we have
it's a pre-industrial society. I'm not sure how they're forging things.
Or is
we
it
have to
post-industrial?
assume. I'm just going to say this. We have to assume that Lee was probably infected with a powerless mask to begin with, because all we see him use in terms of that fight with Onua was he was just leaping around, which he could easily do with his own natural air ability.
yeah, you
And
never see
he
him
didn't
trigger
really
the
use
mask
the
when it's
levitation.
infected.
Right. So we have reason to assume that it was a massless or powerless Kanohi. That's what I mean to say.
I'll allow.
I never thought about that much.
Can infected Kanohi still use their powers?
Well, that's the
I
thing.
don't
We've
have an answer.
never seen it, so we don't know.
The
Unless
only
Greg
other
answered, which
example
probably
could have been is if Tahu's mask had been infected, like the set form showed from the what's the name of that one? It's the Moaka that had that one.
Yeah, but that's
if-
also a powerless mask.
Yes, we know that it's powerless, but I'm saying if Tahu's mask had been infected and then he used shielding, then we would have known. So it can work.
Didn't, and we don't.
The question I have to ask is, can you infect Kanohi Nuba?
Yes.
Didn't we see that
as seen in Mask of Light.
All right, hold on. No, we should save that for when we talk about poison. Which
Right,
is part
because
of the
that's
Kraata
a different
variation.
subject.
Are you ready?
All right, so
Spirit?
I want to get through
I'm
real
ready.
fast. Okay, I want to get through real fast. I want to talk about the stages of Kraata, and then we'll start talking about powers. There are 7 official stages of a Kraata. I'm guessing it's like its larva stage going to its most powerful form, even though the most powerful form also happens to be a larva stage.
This isn't even my final larva.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Like, eventually they evolve into Shadow Kraata, which
Yes.
themselves have the shape of the lower forms.
All 6 of them, yeah.
Is
Those
there
were
a
also
pupil
very-
stage?
Technically no. It's just Makuta grabs it from his knee or wherever. I think it was his knee that he grabbed it from. And then it's just like, hey, now I have a new Kraata. And that's it. So eventually it just kind of upgrades almost like a Pokemon, where it goes from stage 1 to stage 6. Eventually its mind starts developing and it knows how to use the powers that it's been given. And each variation apparently also has its own unique trait. Like, I don't remember how we got this list. I'm pretty sure it was Greg that gave us this list.
The list of powers?
The list of powers and then the variations upon them.
There was at one point a variations chart actually on Lego.com, and I tried pulling up the archive, but there's nothing there anymore, and it makes me sad.
Oh, right. That's
But
where
there
we
was,
got
like-
all these
There was like a little
variations.
flash thing that like I would load at like a library computer and read about all of these.
I
Hey
think
kids,
it's-
just so you know, people used to go to the internet at a library.
I think it still works if you can get the right flash of the website.
Right.
You can get a working version of the old.
Oh, that's right. Flash is disabled now because it's a big
Exactly.
liability.
It's dead.
Right. So I found the easiest way to do it, and I know this is going to be painful for somebody to hear, but you have to use the built-in Internet Explorer on your computer to get to Flash now.
Oh no, I always use Internet Explorer when I need to use a security vulnerability.
No, I mean, they haven't completely disabled Flash. I should say, like you can still enable it, but
but it's
starting 2021, like it's dead. Nothing is going to support it at all.
And not to help toot his own horn for him, but Spirit, didn't you also make a Kraata chart at one point?
I did, and you know what? I'm gonna come out and admit that there are perhaps some graphical mistakes in that. As someone pointed out to me, I'm not gonna call out any names, but you know what? I admit that I made a mistake when I was making that 10 years ago, however long it was. So if you're really jonesing for an updated version of that, let me know and I'll correct those mistakes.
Didn't you make it in like 2005?
I
2004?
mean, yeah, he made it soon, not long after it came out.
Right.
Oh, that's a while ago. Yeah.
I don't recall. It's
That
got to
was
be
2003.
2009, 2008, 2009 thereabouts,
No,
which was
it was,
more
Well,
than
you
10
you
years
made it
ago.
for the Bionicle Reference Center. Remember that?
Right.
So that would have been at minimum 2006.
Nope. At least 2007. I wasn't part of
2007?
the first wave, so I didn't show up in
Oh,
the
okay.
credits of Bionicle Heroes. Sad
Oh,
face.
right.
Oh
Less than a year
man,
there.
you missed out, buddy.
That's annoying because I kind of wish I actually sold BS01 at that point to PC Power, and then I could have been in the credits.
Just to be on the credits of Bionicle Heroes.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
I'm immortal.
That's fine. I'm still more recognized today anyway.
All right.
So let's do these powers.
Do it.
Let's do these powers. So let's start at the very top of the page. I'm looking at the stage 1 on Krata variations.
Oh, just jump to stage 6.
Oh, we'll jump to stage 6,
Yeah,
sure.
just jump.
Wait,
That's the
hold
part
on.
I exported.
Wait, Swert, I thought you
I'm
wanted to
not-
read the different, like the levels of intelligence of the Krata.
Well, we'll worry about the... Okay, yeah, let's read the intelligence levels first. So we'll start with stage 1, which is where they're driven completely by instinct. No mind of their own, they just slither around. Blah, blah, blah. So they're driven purely as instinctual creatures. They're like, I want to go do stuff. I don't know what I want to do, but we're going to
I
do
need
that.
food.
Yes. Well,
It's
no.
a very
in this
hungry
case,
caterpillar.
They just want to seek out Kanohi to infect them. They don't actually know what else they're doing. They just said, Kanohi, got it. Go for that. Stage 2, they have a little bit of intelligence, but they're aware enough to know that to avoid the light and recognize danger. So at least they're now fully aware that they're completely, invulnerable, or they're completely vulnerable to light, which is nice.
So there's cognitive ability, and then not instinct, like awareness
Self-preservation.
and self-preservation. That's a word.
Yes. They know that if they're going to run into, say, Takanuva, they're probably going to die. So, stage 3, they're capable of defending themselves with their power if necessary. That's cute. Dangerous, but cute.
They are pretty
Stage
adorable.
4, they can evade the traps and withstand sunlight for a short while. That's good for them. Stage 5. Oh, and at some point, they also have the intelligence to point where they can recognize Matorn and formulate a trap for them to infect their Kanohi. That's neat. Stage 5, they have developed their powers and know how to use them best. These Krata know the Makuta's will and will actively seek out for Matorn mass to infect. And stage 6, before the 7th stage, which is a different thing altogether, they're fully aware of their mission and the control of their powers. Krata at this point stage are in constant communication with a Makuta to carry out their will.
That must be a nightmare for Makuta. Like, if he made, like, what are there, like, 92 different, like, variations in, like, the collectible, and it's like, oh gosh, imagine having to communicate all the dang time.
Well, I don't think he actually made every possible permutation of Krata. That would be a little ridiculous.
That's a little ridiculous. And that's another thing we'll talk about in a bit when we get to the golden armor, because that's definitely related to this topic.
But there were so many in the stores that people just pilfered because they just broke open the blind bags and took them.
Right?
Yeah, I definitely saw my share of empty Krata containers. It was sad.
So sad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I always hear people talking about that. I never saw that myself, which is very strange.
You must have grew up in a nice place.
Or you have to also understand that this is at a time when, depending on where you lived, I mean, I was in a very small interest in Lego neighborhood, so I didn't really have that much in terms of robberies like that. But I mean, I would absolutely nowadays see a lot of Lego collectible minifigures just torn open and left to the side, which is sad.
And don't forget, this is not long after a whole craze with Beanie Babies, to the point where people were putting them on their will and splitting them up in, like, divorce court and stuff. It's like, collectibles were a big deal.
Remember, kids, if you ever buy into collectibles, buy 2 of everything. You will not know how much that'll save you in the long run, especially for Lego.
And it could be none, because much like Beanie Babies, could be worthless in the end.
Oh, you're not wrong there.
Alternatively, if your wife is bringing collectible Kanohi into the marriage, she's a keeper.
Absolutely.
Aw, love. True love.
Anyway, finally, then, of course, there's the Shadow Grotto, which I've just remembered is very rare because it has to have a specific strain of genetic material. And even though they turn purple, they still keep their original power and can only operate Roxy of the same type as
The
well.
citation needed on the genetic material bit. Where's that come from?
Yeah,
I
they don't have
see any
DNA.
report.
Do they?
Makuta
They're just-
DNA.
You know,
It's just-
I would say instead of a particular strain of genetic material, I would have said maybe if they were exposed to a certain type of virus. I would have accepted that. That would have
Well,
made sense.
viruses didn't exist until 2008.
The particular strain of genetic material thing didn't exist until I read it just now.
The parasite was infected by a virus and became stronger.
The Shadow Grotto also have the ability to infect mass up to a distance of 100 yards, or about 91.44 meters, or 66.67 bio.
Laser eyes.
Just in case you're perfectly accurate on knowing what a bio is. That's
I
part of the
forget.
mini rant.
I will never remember.
It's 1,000th of Kaio.
Oh, so yeah. The Roxy actually, if they have a Shadow Grotto operating in them, they still can't infect Konohi from that distance. So that's good.
That's very good.
Yes. Apparently, they will acquire the physical features of any of the previous 6 stages. That's how they justified making that many in that mold. Okay, so now officially we're into the powers. And we're going to start with the original... Okay. Hang on a sec. I said let's start with the original 6 and I accidentally clicked on power on the category.
no,
and
he
it
sorted it.
by A.
No!
Oh,
No,
wait,
no,
is
I
that a
refreshed.
sort table?
There is a sorting table.
Oh, good.
Do you
No,
want me to
don't
go
sort
by
it.
it?
No.
Because
we'll go with how
all
it
of
is.
them in different places because we have all of the other 6 original with names. Also, I still have all of these variations with colors. I just have to upload them to the website at some point.
I copied the spreadsheet with the order that it loads in. I don't want to change it.
I've already refreshed it and got back that order.
Thank
So
you.
I'm still starting with fear.
Thank you.
So let's start with the Za, because that is the name of this Krata. Should we just not use the names at all?
Well, there's only 6 names.
These prefixes, we use these few, but more prefixes that I
Nothing
forgot
else.
existed.
Yeah, where did these prefixes come from? Not come from, but like, how did they spend money on these? Like, we know that
they didn't
all
spend
the
money on
names went through legal, but like, the Krana also had 2-letter prefixes, names, things. Like, what was the minimum letter count for something to go through legal?
Well, I can tell you right now, the Vo probably came from the Vorok.
That's the only one that makes sense.
That's the only one that does make sense. So why
Although
did they
There's
call
no
it
Yay Rock, there's no Key Rock, there's no Ku Rock. Oh, there is a Ku Rock, but it's not that way. There's no Za Rock, although that sounds like a G2 name.
It sounds like the name for the Krana, the equivalent leadership Krana, the XA Za.
Oh yeah,
Not to be confused with the ZA Za.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that.
Okay, so let's start with that one anyway. So the Za, which is fear, has the power to bring fear to the hearts of even the Toa Nuba.
And also apparently kill Jala.
Yeah, I was about to say, that one apparently killed Jala.
He wasn't a Toa Nuba, he had a heart attack.
Make it his heart stop because they have.
I mean, I guess maybe the fear is trying to... maybe he was putting the fear in Takua by killing his best friend, which is what he was afraid of?
I feel that power goes beyond a little too far. Like, if you can make the fear a reality, that's scary.
Yeah. That was always a weird scene.
That whole movie's weird.
So is this a good power or not?
I think it's pretty effective. Like, in every instance, it's pretty debilitating to anyone who's hit by it.
Yes. You see that in the DC comics with Scarecrow and also the Yellow Lanterns all having the control over fear. It is a very effective weapon when it's used right.
Yeah, I see that as something
not
that's...
to get too far back into like how they gained sentience and everything, but like, were Matoran and such originally programmed with fear? Like, how did this power come to be?
I mean, I don't think they were programmed with fear. I see it as maybe Antidermis was everything that Protodermis had removed from it to make it less refined.
Well, if you think about it from the stance of robots, like you've got Isaac Asimov's The Laws of Robotics, and one of those is you gotta have some self-preservation, and that's what fear is it's the desire to preserve yourself. So that's something you would bake into an AI, no problem.
That's true. Okay. That is true.
That's my explanation.
I mean, we already saw before that they have fear before they even had a Roxy based on fear.
It's almost, well, I will just accept that all Bionicle characters have normal human feelings and emotions, except for one specific category we all know. But like, it's just, if you're going to make characters and you're going to make them relatable, they have to be at least mildly anthropomorphized for us to even like accept them. It's like Transformers. Why do Transformers have personalities? Why do Transformers have genders? Same thing.
I'm not arguing that they have personalities or emotions or anything. It's just more like later on we find out that they developed these sentient emotions essentially after a certain point. And so I was more just curious, like if did Makuta originally have this quote unquote fear power, and what did that look like for something that is not sentient and does not have what we would describe as fear? But I like the way that Spirit put it, which is self-preservation.
Yeah, right. The fact that stuff didn't start out that way is more annoying than the fact that it's there. Sorry, Swert.
Right, yeah.
It's fine. I was going to say, I don't really want to rush us, but at the same time, we have 42 of these to get through. Andale.
41 now, let's go.
So is it good or bad?
I'm saying good.
I would say fear is good.
Yeah, fear
it's pretty good. Okay. I'm taking notes.
Effective power.
Oh, are you taking notes? Okay.
Are you also taking notes? Good.
Everybody take notes.
Both of you take notes.
Okay,
this
good.
Will be fine.
Chroniclers, unite.
All right. Is that an L? Disintegration. Has the power to reduce even protodermis to dust.
Remember when protodermis was special?
The stage 6 ones, I should say.
These are all stage 6 ones, yes.
Yeah. Is protodermis dust protodandruff?
This is a good question.
I'm asking the important questions here.
Can they even have dandruff because they don't even have hair? Except when they do.
But here's evidence that protodermis was not always everything. Because why would you specify can turn even protodermis to dust if everything is protodermis?
Well, as we recall, Spheres Magna is
Spirit.
not made of protodermis. It had energized protodermis in its core.
But in 2003, there was no Spheres Magna.
In 2003, we still thought the planet or the island underneath was not just protodermis. It's just rock.
Right. I'm saying that protodermis being everything in the Matanui robot is a retcon.
Yes, I agree with that. All right. As for the disintegration, it's a power. I don't really have a care in the world.
It just shouldn't exist at the same time that fragmentation exists.
Right, exactly. I was going to say
fragmentation is a much more effective power. It really is.
By itself, I think it's fine, but then you have fragmentation, which basically does the same thing. It makes things go
right.
Yeah,
it makes things go boom as compared to everything go dust. I would personally say, if we're gonna skip ahead real fast for 5 seconds, as far as fragmentation, that says has the power to create explosions in the immediate area. I would honestly say I would rather have the blow up power over reducing things to dust. I'm just saying. I mean,
I can see a practical application for each one, but if you're a bad guy, why would you not want to just blow things up?
Exactly. You want to drive more people into fear with your fear Roxy over there. You might as well have things blow up at the same time. That'll definitely get things going. I would say disintegration's bad, fragmentation's good.
Okay, that's
agreed.
Fine.
Poison, dangerously toxic even to a Toa Nuva.
All right, I got problems with poison.
Okay, I'll let you have your mini rant.
Go on.
It's just, why is poison, like, I understand poison as in can kill plants, can, create a toxic effect, whatever. Why does it also become this, metaphysical poison where it poisons the mind?
I think it's not necessarily the metaphysical part. I think part of that is they're just poisoned in their bodies so that they have toxins. I believe it's because Tahu was hit with the anger ray that caused him to go completely nutso.
Oh, that's not it. He gets scratched with the poison thing, and then
then he's also hit with the anger ray.
No, that's not
a combination of both.
That puts him over the top, but they have to cure his poison.
It's dangerously toxic. He became toxic with his personality, don't you see?
Right.
He
started bullying people online.
I get it. Like, why does this double entendre exist? That's what I want to know.
I'm going to say that the movie makers either didn't understand Bionicle or didn't want to explain Kanohi infections. Like, you've already got a scene where Lirok is using its poison, and then the viewer can be like, oh, well, the poison poisons the ground, it poisons the brain, sure, whatever. I don't understand Bionicle.
No, neither of those things make sense. How does one equate to the other?
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I don't know.
Honestly, if I understood even half of what was written about Bionicle Mask of Light, I would be more than happy to tell you. I still don't understand it. It's been 17 years.
Well, and also, like, you have the Krata themselves, these things that are giving the Roxy the powers, which, I mean, barely appear in the movie anyway, but, you know, you have established that these are what created the Kanohi infection in the first place. So why is there this separate way of infecting a Kanohi and turning it evil? It's so unnecessary.
So I'm going to give it a no for being annoying and confusing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
I would agree. That's a no. That's a no.
Well, with that, in 2008, you get multiple ways of turning Matoran into Shadow Matoran as well, which also really bugged me.
Yes.
Yes.
There's just so many ways people can go wrong, and only one way to go right.
Well, and the shadow leeches, which contributed to which were the main source of Matoran corruption, were quote unquote mutated from Krata in the first place. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh boy, let's bring them in. Let's go.
We'll talk about them either later or in another episode.
Just wait for the Shadow Leech
really
episode, boys.
We might put the Shadow Leeches in the mini rant episode, which we keep talking about but never doing.
They're itty bitty things, itty bitty rats.
Oh, they're
Very
still
tiny.
adorable. Don't get me wrong. I still love the look of them.
All right, what's
a
next?
lot more so than Roxy.
Okay. Hey, it's our favorite, Fragmentation.
No, we already talked about Fragmentation.
Yeah, Fragmentation good, Disintegration bad.
Fragmentation good, Disintegration bad. Next!
That is our new chant. Thank you. The next one is the Vo, which is hunger. Has enough strength to drain the energy of a Toa Nuva.
Ooh.
So, can we all agree that this one was strictly made for Onua and his mask?
Yeah, I think that's where they got the idea from. Yeah, in the movie. Didn't you guys ever watch the movie?
I watched it, but Swert literally said it's been 17 years. A lot has gone on, man. I have a lot of my brain.
I watched it every day of my life for the last 17 years.
Thank you. Somebody had to do it.
We thank you for your contribution to society, or lack thereof.
Anyway, yeah, I'm okay with hunger. I like that idea of just energy draining.
Hunger
it's
is a good
simple,
one.
but it's effective.
Yeah, and they later on use that same or similar power, but that also becomes the mask later on that just allows them to... What is that the one that also converts into Shadow Matoran? Or is that a different mask?
Yes.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
This Roxy could theoretically have the ability to suck the light out of somebody if it was written properly.
It's just the mask that can do that, which is was a weird thing to add to the mask in the first place, because you have the other masks that were, you know, normally based on the Krata powers, but then, you know, you had to add this weird light draining thing to the hunger one.
Well, all the Krata have the problem where drinking light juice is bad for them, so yeah.
This is true.
Chug.
So we're moving on to the Q, or Ku, or whatever we want to pronounce that.
I guess
which
the
is
Ku.
the anger Krata. Has the power to turn even the Toa Nuva against one another in total rage.
Very redundant. They do that on their own.
Yeah.
Yes, very true. I would have to say this is probably... I like it. I think it's an amazing one, but is this the right Krata?
I mean, if anyone has played Skyrim, this is a very effective skill to use on your foes, and just make them kill each other and then loot their belongings. It's great.
That is a fun way to play that game.
This feels like the mascot for this podcast at this point, because it's all about rage, which is what we're supposed to be about.
Yeah, and so far, we're not actually angry at any of these.
I've been trying to think that, you know, of these things in terms of, like, I guess, crowd control, like how... You know, the Makuta used to be protectors, so how do you use these things effectively without necessarily killing everyone?
That's awfully topical, isn't it?
I didn't want to say it, but thank you.
You know, I'm not sure there is a way to make that happen.
It's almost like they were not the right people for that job. It's like, oh yeah, you guys are the peacekeepers. Also, we give you all this darkness and evil and stuff. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we also just recently released the Destiny episode, so that's always fun too.
Hashtag cancel the great beings.
Right. Honestly, you know, how many are in the good, how many are in the bad so far?
I'm not really feeling anger.
I'm not feeling anger either.
Then we have hit 50%.
I'd be okay if we did. Are we officially at 50% now?
We have hit true neutral.
And that's just
no strong feelings one way or the other.
All right, so let's
you meant between the ones we discussed. I thought you meant that you and Spirit were both voting in favor of anger, and I was like, oh, we need a tiebreaker.
No,
I don't like it.
No, we're it's a it's not unanimous. It's not voting. It doesn't matter. I'm just talking about where are we at as far as the powers are right now. We're 50 and 50.
I'm just reading the room.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to weather control.
Great
Can
one.
manifest powerful, dangerous thunderstorms and blizzards at will. That's a very powerful Krata.
That's a whole lot
I'm
for a
actually-
slug, you know?
It really is. So this is the storm Krata.
Is that useful though? Like, I feel like on TV or like in anime, like, oh no, he's making a storm, and like we see the Toa do this a couple times. In real life, if someone makes a thunderstorm, just leave. You know,
Right?
Oh, go inside.
well-
Okay.
it's a minor inconvenience at best.
Weather control, if it's written correctly, such as how they did it with the X-Men series, Storm was absolutely one of the most powerful X-Men characters.
Right, but she's using like very localized weather. So is
Right.
that what this can do?
Is this
Like
what
make a mini tornado under yourself?
like I said, is this what is happening? I don't know. You would have to
It
check
says it
the other
can
stages.
manifest it. It doesn't say it can control it.
Yeah, this is pretty bad.
It's a
It just
yeah.
changes the weather.
The way it's written right now, it's pretty bad. If it
Well,
if it had the ability to direct the lightning bolts and all that, then it would just be a Krata of lightning.
Plus, you got to think you're fighting Toa. If you're fighting Kopaka, he can stop a blizzard. If you're fighting Lewa, he can stop a blizzard or a storm. Gali, she can just absorb all the rain. Like these are not very
Yeah.
useful things.
No, no. The only one that you would be able to defeat at that point would be Tahu, and even then, he would literally just crank up the heat and go, "Okay, I could take it."
I
Yeah.
like the stage 3 variation of weather control, which just says has the ability to manipulate existing weather. So, okay,
That
so
is
it's
probably
raining.
the most powerful
Now it's
of
raining
its
harder.
versions. Yeah.
Well, and
Oh.
Swert, you mentioned there, like the like a lightning power being, more useful. So I mean, if we maybe want to jump ahead just a little bit, there's two Roxy that kind of have weather-based powers. There's chain lightning, whatever that
Yes.
really is,
That's the
and
one you want.
cyclone.
So, chain lightning controls devastating bolts of chain lightning that leaps between multiple targets. So that's literally the Ark of the Covenant right there.
That's literally control. That's what we were looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
But then how is that
You-
different from electricity, which is also
Oh,
a Krata
yeah.
power?
Mhm.
Well, electricity. Let me find that one on the list because
I'm going to answer that for you, Spirit. The one of chain lightning controls plasma, not electricity.
Oh, of course.
Ah!
Which is another one that exists as well.
Oh.
Oh, good lord.
Let's not jump around too much, but I found the
We can
electricity
jump
one. It says powerful electrical field that can be controlled to surround or stun distant objects or creatures. Yikes.
So just kind of a really lame version.
It's a slug
Yeah.
taser.
All right, so I would say chain lightning is good. Electricity is bad.
What about weather control? Bad?
I would say weather control bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so elasticity is the next one on the list. Can stretch incredible lengths in the blink of an eye to infect a faraway mask.
I like
Isn't
this
that a
one.
bit of a redundant power if you're going to turn into a Shadow Grotto and eventually anyway?
Well, it's not necessarily going to.
Right. Plus,
Maybe
if
you're
it is a
stretching.
Roxy, it can stretch. Like this is different. We didn't actually get to see this too much in Bionicle.
It's like they have a purpose, and their purpose is to achieve that, and this one achieved that in a different way.
I would say as far as its actual purpose of being a Krata, this is a really amazing Krata. Because the ability to stretch and just be elastic,
If anything, I would say it's fantastic. Mr.
Hey.
Fantastic.
yeah. Inspired by Mr. Fantastic, also inspired by Plastic Man. It works. I would say as a power it works, but as a Roxy it would definitely not be good.
Oh no, I want to
Unless
see
it
the
has the
stretchy
ability
Roxy.
to shapeshift, which is another power down below. So these are redundant powers.
No.
There is a lot-
I just want to see a Roxy with no staff. It just like extends his torso and slaps people.
Maybe its arms extend and becomes the staff.
It goes boing.
This
Sorry
would have
for
been
my
a
weird sound
good,
effects.
a good inclusion in the comics. Like I feel like you could draw some interesting stretchy Roxy art. But it
Oh
didn't
yeah,
happen.
I would have replaced the elasticity up. I would have replaced disintegration with elasticity. I think that would have been interesting. Good combat to the fluidity. Plus, it's already its color choices are bright yellowish green and bright yellow. I remember we had a chart at some point that also showed what these Krata become when they're Roxy. I think that's on the Roxy page.
Uh-oh, even more powers to consider. I think for the sake of
Wow.
brevity, we need to consider what the Krata are just by themselves, unless it's really
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do another topic about Roxy down the line.
No more
we'll
stretchy
talk about
Roxy.
them.
Sorry.
Okay. So moving on, we have the Roxy Heat Vision, Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, that guy. He actually shows up in set form.
He does.
Yes.
The 7th Roxy.
It does.
Yes.
He finally made it.
Powerful long-range heat vision that can ignite any object within sight. It's actually not bad.
Just like a big magnifying glass over ants.
But also, you also have laser vision later on.
I was gonna say, and why did the Makuta only have 2 of the 6 Paraka vision powers? I mean, obviously they didn't think of it in 2003, but like from a storyline perspective, wouldn't it be so great to have like impact vision as a Makuta?
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's true.
They don't have any telekinesis. Like,
Yeah, I guess
come
they
on.
don't. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Well, do we prefer laser vision over heat vision then?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna say
always.
no.
Like-
no
like
chance.
what-
Laser
the
vision
difference?
fires powerful eye beams that can burn through solid protodermis.
Oh, set things on fire versus burns
Burning
things.
straight
Laser
through.
things.
I'm gonna say laser vision is better than heat vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Laser
Although-
vision good, heat vision bad.
Do they have the power from Fairly Odd Parents? Meat vision?
The next one is the first of the actual what we consider Kanohi powers, illusion.
Illusion.
Because I don't think any of the other ones were. I mean, we never had a weather control mask. Not in
No.
official canon.
Yeah, they should have
No,
just
that's
reused
right.
old powers. That would have been much less
That
of a
would have been
headache.
so much easier. Okay, you could blame Bones and me personally for some of that masks. Some,
Dang it.
not all.
No. Like, I'm talking for Krata powers rather than
Oh,
making
yeah.
up things. Just reuse the old ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there should have absolutely been. I mean, stasis fields gets pretty close to shielding. That's not quite the same. Anyway, illusion can create and control multiple realistic illusions anywhere within sight.
This is pretty overpowered. Like we see it in Time Trap, where he traps Vakama in this fantasy world. Like that's
Well, but so is that his Roxy power of illusion or his Krata power of illusion, or is that just his own like super strong, telepathic ability?
I
Oh
don't
yeah, that's
know.
absolutely his telepathy right there. He is manipulating the mind and using the Viscerock that can speak. That gives him kind of an audible thing because for some reason I guess he can't.
And maybe he's using. Well, yeah, I guess is he using both or is he just using one? I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird.
Well, the only mind power Makuta has, technically according to this chart, is mind reading, which is not putting thoughts into people's brains. So technically it has to be illusion. Okay. Then again, Greg did randomly decide what powers Makuta does and doesn't have. So I don't know.
All right. So my headcanon for this is the Roxy of Illusion. The only thing it's been known to create is the Roxy Rock animation. That's the only thing.
Oh, well, that's got to go in the good category.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
yeah. That automatically
yeah.
puts it. Actually, no. I would automatically put the illusion power over in the good category anyway. Just because I think it is, as a Krata, that would be really devastating to have a Roxy or a Krata that can make an illusion of, like, say, a Toa, and you get trusting, you go to it, and it automatically infects your mask.
Yeah, it does its job.
Yeah.
Effective.
It is a very effective trapper.
You can do multiple illusions. You can confuse multiple people.
All right. So, the next one is teleportation. Has the power to teleport itself through any wall or other structure except the shields of Karta Nui.
Hello, this has been retconned.
Oh, yeah. Definitely been retconned.
There's a big retcon on that one.
I think it's because... Oh, sorry.
So this is different than say, like, the Kowalski, am I remembering that right? The mask that lets you long travel, but you have to see where you're going.
Yeah.
No.
But even with teleportation, like, you still can't enter Karta Nui unless you're getting in there physically. So I don't think as a retcon.
Well, the only thing that could get through, I mean, Artaka's teleportation beam could get through. Because that's what he uses to get the Toanua there, correct?
Yeah, well, I meant retcon more in the fact that this is not what it said in 2003.
Oh, yeah, no.
Karta Nui didn't exist.
Right.
That would have been funny if they said that in 2003.
I'm willing to bet somebody had asked Greg, well, could the Krata do that? Because, I mean, we got to see what could get through, and it's like...
Well, no, it makes sense, because they were always talking about there's only so many entrances to Karta Nui. You got to either go through the waterfall or other means. I think it came up a lot. It makes sense. You
can zap yourself in through an alternate dimension.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I'm more assuming that people were being a little pedantic. People were like, "Oh, look, you said any wall or structure."
Oh no, we got you.
You got you.
Said, Uno reverse.
Look, I changed it on the wiki. It always said this.
Citation needed.
Do you remember when he edited the wiki to include the stasis, or what is that? The sentient cloud is the reason that they died, and then he retconned himself in the very next chapter. It was what was it? Dreams of Destruction.
Yeah, that was an ARG. He was throwing us off.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and then he's like, never mind. No, it was Zyglak because we already have those.
Of course, it was Zyglak. It's always Zyglak.
That is offensive to Zyglak.
I like Zyglak.
Zyglak were.
Teleportation, is it good?
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna put an N.
I feel like it was good in 2003 when we had a very, like small, relatively contained location. Nowadays, meh.
It got nerfed with the Cardanui update.
Yeah.
It got nerfed when we figured out there was a teleportation system that's even more effective than it.
Of course.
Yeah, this is a pretty mad power.
Next.
Quick healing, almost indestructible. If captured, can be used to heal the injuries of others. I would automatically say that's a win.
I like this one.
I don't like this one though.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
No one ever gets injured in Bionicle. Healing is so worthless. And
Fair enough.
Injured, it's nothing can cure no karma. We gotta get the magic root juice. Oh,
yeah, or like this is proto steel armor. You can't fix that with just a magic power.
Right, or like, we'll just cross Tahu's sword and Kopaka's sword and cover Tahu in water, and that'll heal him. Like you don't need quick healing.
Gosh.
Completely worthless.
All right, well, we'll put it in the loose column.
If it were actually applied in some way, it would be cool. But yeah, it's like the whole concept
could you imagine
of
using
injury
it?
is just weird.
Oh, that would be interesting. Having a Krata of quick healing as like a vial, almost like the fairies in Legend of Zelda.
See, that's why I think it's cool. Is like you could think of cool ways it could be applied. Like imagine like a Matoran healer who captured one and he goes around like healing them as they battle like Roxy or Boak or whatever is going on. Like that would be cool.
Just applying some tiny little mask thing on their mouth so that they can't infect anything.
Isn't that the plot of an episode of Stargate where they make this magic healing serum from one of the Goa'uld larvae?
Eventually, yeah, and then they give that to the Jaffa so they get off of that altogether.
Yeah, so I mean there were applications. I think the mistake they made in Bionicle was not making, I don't know, like pick one of the F tier masks we did from the mask episode and just swap that in with healing for one of the Toa, and have them heal people. That adds conflict, and now you've got a healer on your RPG team.
Yeah, we can think of this now in hindsight, and it's just like, man, that would have been cool, but no.
Well, but then you also get into 2004 where suddenly everything's protodermis, but then also Duma has the mask of regeneration, and it's like, all right, well, so how, what is this healing thing, and how is it applying? Like, is healing supposed to be on organic parts only? Why would the Krata have that ability then?
Everything in the future is chrome, Patrick.
We definitely have to move on. To move on.
No.
It's a no.
Healing bad.
All right, so we already briefly talked about laser vision. We've decided it's a yes over heat vision. Moving on to gravity.
Gravity's great. It killed Botar. It's fantastic.
It hurts.
It does hurt.
Gravity.
The most powerful element.
Gravity uses gravity control to crush any object in visual range. So is it effectively less powerful than the Nuvava Call?
Yeah, it's unclear how.
It's like very specific gravity
variation.
The Nuvava Kala, I mean, more or less that's what he was doing, right? He's just crushing things.
And then he crushed himself.
And then he crushed himself.
Yes. Microsingularities for everyone. All right, so I would say that's a yes because it is rather powerful.
Well, but then also, I mean, and we've had this discussion already, but then you get to magnetism, and when everything is magnet, you can basically just do the same thing.
Oh, yeah, no, we definitely need to talk about magnetism. We'll probably reverse that at some point, but I would definitely keep both, to be honest. All right, so we said no to
people into space. That's pretty overpowered.
It really is. So we said no to electricity because it's just a weaker version of chain lightning.
I guess.
No, I mean, I like electricity.
I mean, it makes a powerful electric field that can be controlled to surround or stun distant objects or creatures.
Right, like you're not
just a slimy taser.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I could probably get the same effect by putting on some wool socks, going across a carpet, and zapping somebody.
I am a toe of electricity, he says as he scrapes across the carpet.
Yeah, this one gets power crept by the other abilities very quickly.
Yeah.
It was obviously only here because they needed 6 more ideas, and they're like, "Wait a minute, the Borak Call didn't get any play in 2003. Let's re-include
In fact,
them."
all 6 of them are right here in the order.
Oh, it's almost like they copy-pasted it.
It really is.
Want to see these cool powers? Want to see them again?
I like electricity because they specify it as being like non-lethal. It's to me, it's they're thinking a little bit versus chain lightning, which is just zap, zap, zap.
Right.
You're dead.
But chain lightning is absolutely like the Sith control over force lightning, whereas electricity is more or less just like you said, it's a taser.
So yes?
No. Not with the chain lightning.
Overruled, apparently.
Sorry. Moving on to Sonic.
You got your chance.
Blast distant objects with powerful waves of sonic force. Oh, great. So it is literally just Black Canary.
Yeah, it just screams at you.
Except Power Scream is also one of the Krata powers.
So it literally does feel like they just said, I'm going to copy and paste here. Want to see me do it again?
Imagine going out into like the jungles of Lake Horo to check on your like bula berries or whatever they're called, and like you just see this slug on it, and it just screams at you. Like, what do you do with yourself after seeing that?
Like if you could hook up a music player to it and then it plays music for you, that would be awesome. But no, as long as there's literally something even stronger coming up on it, this is a no for me.
Yeah, Sonic's bad, Power Scream good.
Unless I was wrong, and this is the Roxy Rocks Roxy.
No. Well, maybe. It's
maybe
black and bright yellow. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, maybe.
It would work.
Maybe.
I would have liked to have seen Power Scream in Bionicle. I feel like that there was, I don't know, some of the powers that get reused too much. Power Scream never gets any play.
Well, Power Scream kind of gets used when the clack come into play, but then it's a very specific form of Power Scream.
Yeah.
Would the Power Stream
remember the clack?
Would the Krata Power Stream actually solve the problems too?
I don't think so.
All right, we're moving on. Vacuum.
Yes, no. Sonic say yes or no.
Sonic says no.
Oh, Sonic says no. Not with Power Scream.
Okay. Vacuum.
Vacuum has the power to create gate force winds or instantly reverse their flow. It's gone from suck to blow.
Are we keeping that line?
Yes, of course we are. The world must know.
I don't know if I should keep that or not.
What does it do when it so it can create gale force winds and then it can reverse them? Is that just not just two different winds in different directions? Like, this thing can't inhale. Like, what's it gonna do?
I don't know.
Like where is the vacuum forming? Is this
I
probably should have thought of this before.
Like, shouldn't it be you intake the air first and then expel it?
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and just put my foot down and say this is a no because we're thinking too much about it.
It's got a puff up its puffy little cheeks and it just goes, and it's like, no.
I didn't have to think this much when we were talking about fear.
Frickin' vacuum.
Vacuum is bad.
Vacuum's bad.
Okay, fine, but can Greg canonize it as a Toa power already? Come on, man.
Come on!
All right, moving on to Plasma. Has the power to instantly melt any object into vapor.
That sounds pretty useful.
Not turning things into dust.
Or exploding them.
Yeah.
It says instantly, like, it's just like, oh, now you are Plasma.
Like, could you imagine a Krata finding a way to snap a finger and then 100% you're gone?
How did this not, like, if Plasma is so powerful, like, it never becomes that much of a threat. Like, it's bad, but like, it's like, oh, that sounds so serious.
And its colors are dark gray and sand blue. This could have easily replaced Disintegration. I would have been fine with it being the power instead.
Regardless of what anyone says about the powers, I do love all the different variations of like the blind bag Krata. Like, there's so many cool things in there.
Right, no, they look cool.
In fact, during this entire editing process, this is going to be such a pain for me, but I'm going to be putting all the colors that I have sitting on a computer. I'm going to be putting them on the screen as we're talking.
Excellent.
All right. So if you want to self-flagellate as you try to edit this thing, sure, go ahead.
No, hold on. He's been wanting to do this for a while. Let him do it.
Okay, sure, fine.
All right, moving on.
I think it's pretty good. Put it in the good pile.
Yeah,
I think it's okay. Yes.
Yeah,
especially because they don't have things like fire or anything. They don't have any of the basic elements.
Yeah, there is no Krata
Like,
fire.
why don't they have the elements though? Like, just give them the elements. That would have been so easy. Like, yeah, he's got all the powers of the Toa and other stuff.
But then they'd have to explain away later on. Well, why couldn't Makuta use the ability? That's actually a good question. There are at least 6 Toa powers in here, minimum. There's gravity, there's electricity, there's sonics, there's plasma, there's magnetism.
But we didn't know about any of those when we first learned about these powers. So.
Right.
Okay,
But could
what's the
Makuta
last
create
one?
an energized protodermis chain
No.
cage?
Well,
they're
no,
not
it looks like he only has
plant
5 of the 6. There is no wait, he's got
plant
plant control.
Hello.
But that's not
yeah.
absorbing a
They're-
plant.
We had this discussion during powers. These are power versions, not elemental power versions.
All right. Well, moving on. All right, magnetism. Possesses magnetic power strong enough to tear a slab of protodermis in 2.
How often do you use magnets to rip something apart? Oh no, I guess you can. This is like the Dr.
You
Evil version of
could.
that.
Magnets, how do they work?
Told like that, I think it's a pretty strong power, but it's not like, why wouldn't you just go down the line and look for, isn't there telepathy?
Nope.
Now, what are we thinking of with a slab of protodermis? Like, I'm going to assume this is like a tablet size or something, because we're dealing with, we're still dealing with
it just
Krata
says
here.
a slab of protodermis. I'm wondering if they maybe, that's a good question.
I think they mean like protosteel or like back. This is back before protodermis got power crept by itself.
Right.
So
Well, but I
protodermis
mean,
was like,
this is also kind of the start of the acknowledgement that protodermis is everything, right?
no, because it's saying like protodermis is like something really strong, and only a level 6 magnetism Krata can tear it in 2.
Right.
This is like some power level stuff in a place where power levels are a problem already.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like magnetism is pretty useful.
I'll put it down as a yes.
Have you
Okay.
seen
Yeah,
the
yes.
X-Men movies? There's a lot of magnets in those.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, Magneto is literally a villain for a reason. Like the
Magneto's
villain.
cool. I like him. I don't
Yeah.
agree with him, but he's cool.
No, I don't agree with his methods, but I agree that he
Yeah,
has.
death to all humans. I agree.
All right, moving on. The 2 resistance I'm going to do together. There's fire resistance and ice resistance. That's a no for both.
Yeah. No.
Lame.
Gross.
The fire resistance is able to withstand the heat of Tahu Nuva's magma swords. The ice resistance is impervious even to the cold of Kopaka Nuva's ice blade. And why would I care?
Imagine if they did that for all 6. Like there was one that's like, it's resistant to water. Okay.
So
Only under
it's
30 meters.
It's resistant
Well,
to air. It can't
It's
breathe.
your one
we
strength.
already have that. It's called vacuum.
Or if a Toa comes across you, if that one specific Toa comes across you, and then you can somehow survive.
But
Right.
any of the other 5 and you're screwed.
Exactly.
Able to withstand getting pelted by rocks by Kopaka Nuva. Or Patu Nuva.
That's called the elastic one. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
this
I'm
I
leaving
think,
that blur.
like the inclusion of the fire and ice resistance, I guess is trying to set up Tahu and Kopaka as the most powerful 2 Toa Nuva, which I don't even know why this is a thing. Like you see this in Digimon too, of like whoever controls the fire and the ice Digimon, they're usually like the top 2 Digidestined or whatever it is.
It's true.
Right.
Why am I crazy for seeing a pattern here? What's going on?
I think it's because they're polar opposites of each other in regards to.
Well, I mean, I guess usually it's red and blue, right? But in this case, blue is the girl, and she obviously can't be in the conversation.
It's like if you want to have like powers, it's pretty simple. And you want to be like, yeah, like Spirit said, like opposing things. Fire and ice are like super easy ones. Or if you want to pull from like Greek elements and do something with that or whatever, it's like
Right.
if you want to be simple, fire and ice, totally separate.
Now, here's my question. Since we have a fire resistance and ice resistance, where's the song resistance?
Song resistance?
Song of ice and fire.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Oh, that was it. That was
We are
That's the Sonics one, okay?
there was a good use of the Krata of elasticity to stretch to that joke.
Okay, can I side tangent? This is bad side tangent, but it's
Okay.
silly. But there was
I'm going further. We are
Okay.
adding another 30 minutes to the timer. We are not done.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to abuse your timer here and do something completely off topic. But there was a trailer for a Sonic game that included the line, "What do you get when you mix fire with ice?" And somebody just replied with water, and it's like, yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh.
That's the line.
That's barely in line.
Hang on, I can find this. Hang on.
All right. So we're moving on to mind reading. Powerful enough to invade the mind of a Turaga or Toa Nuva. That's a bit specific to say Turaga or Toanuva. Are the Turaga heavily shielded from like mind reading?
Oh, I think it's to say that they're very smart. So like,
Yeah.
I guess the lower levels can't read the minds of smart people.
Perhaps.
So all Matoran are
So
dumb.
the question
That's
is,
true, they are.
can a mind reading Krata of this level read the mind of the Order of Matanui? I would imagine not.
No.
No, like if we're gonna try and do an order of magnitude and they're above like a Toa Nuva, whatever level that sets, then no, they've got some silly mind blocks that bothers everyone. So I'm gonna say no.
Well, and I doubt it's strong enough to read the mind of a Makuta directly.
Yeah, it's unclear how that works. Like the mind reading is very inconsistent in Bionicle because from what you would read here, it's just you can read someone's mind, and later it's you can implant thoughts, you can add false memories, you can put them in a world of illusion, and then don't worry, you can get psychic shielding to protect you from this.
Well, and here's another one. You got the Toa Haga from the Reign of Shadows. They were stuck in that world in their own illusion. That Trencom's like, oh look, it's very simple. Click, that's done. It's gone. So Trencom probably is the strongest master of mind control and mind reading.
We knew that though. But
I don't know.
I guess the thing is more like, Makuta also have these powers on top of the Krata powers, right? So they have stronger telepathy than just mind reading. So even though they could mind read, they would just use their own power of telepathy anyway.
And let's not forget at this level. Sorry, Swert. At this level, the when they say power, they say that they are in constant communication with Makuta and they can invade the minds of all the good guys. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal if you got a whole network of them. Like, could have had these little slugs spying on them the whole time. Of course, I don't think any of that happened, but
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, just because Makuta doesn't really need this power doesn't mean it's not useful for the Roxy.
Did he have like a way of like watching the island of Matanui when he was just sitting like underneath it, being all like evil and a floating mass of blocks? I
mean, he had a complete wall of just Krata laying there doing nothing in stasis tubes. I mean,
that's true.
The question is, what would the Wi-Fi router name be? What would Makuta have named his Wi-Fi at that point?
Makuta's plan. All right, so we're going to go this one to yes?
I would say yes to mind reading. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, okay.
Shapeshifting has total control over its own shape, although its mass cannot change.
It's
a pretty worthless thing.
Well, I guess you could turn into a Toa, but that would be. But even then, like Roxy are bigger than the Toa.
But its mass cannot change, so it would have to be a very.
We're still talking about the Krata. We're not even talking about the Roxy's abilities.
Oh, like what's even Krata size? That's so worthtless.
No. There is something that would work. What if you were instead to turn into a Kanohi yourself and make a Matoran pick it up and then go put it in the pile with the other Krata?
But then you don't have. Oh, and then Okay, so if you put it in a pile, put it on, there's my mask.
No, but if you were to take it and then shove it in a pile with all the other masks, all of a sudden, guess what? Every single one of those masks is completely infected now. Possibly. Or what if it turned itself into the Comet Balls and that's how they all got infected?
Okay, so it's got 2 uses.
Minimum.
It's just hide.
What else is Krata size that you can shapeshift into? It's so dumb that its mass is
a light stone.
Like limiting.
You can turn yourself into either a rock or a Kanohi or a rock.
Well, I mean,
okay, to your point.
Make yourself into something bigger, but then you are much
a coffee cup,
less dense then.
So you'll float away. It's a bad power.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
For now, it's a bad power, but I still think it has uses for what it can do. But you're right. Without the ability to change its own mass, that's the part that really annoys me. Next is Darkness. It has the power to consume all light in a large area. Only Takanuva's light is stronger.
I always liked how this one has like the gold and yellow Krata.
Oh yeah.
Such a nice contrast.
Because it's just fluorescing with all that light that it absorbed.
Right. I appreciate that.
I almost wonder if canonically if it glows in the dark with that. Like it's the only light source in the darkness.
It just glows with energy.
Creating the dark. I know it says consume all light, but I don't think it's like literally eating the light.
I mean, Unless that's what all the Shadow Kraata or Shadow Leeches come.
Are we talking like light as in like just like sunlight, or like light as in like the element?
Well, no. Takanuva's light, which is elemental light, is stronger than the light that it can absorb. So we're talking any firelight, candlelight. We're talking any. I don't think you can just chuck it at the sun and have it the sun.
Yeah, but it's only an area. You couldn't just bask in the sun and absorb.
It's essentially just absorbing the photons around it.
You could not black out the sun.
The proto-photons, don't you know?
All right, I would say this is a pretty powerful Kraata, but
yeah, it's all right.
It's good.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially if you're trying to like catch someone, like if they can't see where they're going, they're easy pickings.
This is true.
Now, help me make sure we're not going crazy. Shadow. They're also called Shadow Grotto too. Is that the same one?
No. Shadow Grotto is just those purple ones.
Oh shoot!
You can have a Shadow Grotto of darkness.
Yes.
I don't like it anymore. It's fine. We'll move on. It's a yes. Okay.
And then you could have Darkness, the Dark Hunter, hold a Shadow Grotto of darkness.
Oh,
like Legolas is like legless Legolas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. All right, so we're definitely moving on.
Yeah.
All right, so next one is plant control. Has total control over any plants in the area. So this is the
any plants
Swamp Thing of Kraata.
I mean, on Matanui, there are a lot of plants. That's pretty useful.
It's pretty useful.
I would wonder if that also includes like sentient plants, because you had those even back in 2001. You had some plants that could.
Oh yeah. Or like, could you control and or create? Well, I mean, plant control. Do they mean like that? Is that like Toa level? Oh no, we decided it's not. But like, could you control like a Madu Kabolo and just like grenade people?
I would think so.
Ooh,
yeah.
Fun.
But that gets a yes for me.
I appreciate any references back to all the weird stuff in like that first GBA game, like had all those plants and like berries and stuff. Yeah.
All right. So how are we feeling about this one?
Yeah, I'm down for plant control.
I'm going to say yes with my hypothetical that like the healing one, you can capture it, and therefore you can use it to make your garden awesome.
Yeah.
Only if you could train it.
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. It's fine.
Then again, it's probably overgrowing everything and you just cut it back anyway. So it's fine.
Oh, darn, the Pachysandra are growing again.
All right, next one is molecular disruption. Has the power to utterly disintegrate any inorganic object with a touch.
Man, if only there were already a power that disintegrated things.
The word disintegrate. Why would you say that?
No. And with a touch versus what was the other one? It literally just it has the power to turn anything to dust.
It just does it.
It just does it. So yeah,
it just works.
But this one,
I would say that's a no.
Disintegrates. It's more powerful than disintegration. It's utter disintegration.
Yeah, but it's only inorganic things. Disintegration can.
Yeah, no.
Anything.
Just go home. Get out.
Like, why does this exist? Did they even read this as they were writing it?
Nope.
No. They molded a whole bunch of different colors of Kraata and then gave them to story people, and they were like, "Hey, do something with this." And they're like, "Oh."
What they did is they set up a dartboard in the boardroom. They're like, "Okay, I'm gonna throw the dart, and whatever it lands on. But what if we do it twice?" Did I stutter?
Yes, do it twice, please. We need more.
But yeah, I'm gonna say same as disintegration. This is a no for me.
Yeah, it's blah.
Yeah. Again, I'd rather blow stuff up over disintegrating it.
Oh yeah, that's right. We picked fragmentation. I don't know. I kind of like disintegration better than fragmentation. But anyway,
we had to pick.
We can always go back and review the first six again if we need to.
Chain lightning.
Chain lightning. We said yes to.
Hooray!
Moving on.
I want to say about chain lightning. I don't know how you would want somebody to like explain what exactly chain lightning is, what it makes it different from regular lightning, and then the description controls devastating bolts of chain lightning.
Chain lightning is usually, it literally is what it sounds like. You chain it together, it jumps between targets. So it arcs from the source to a target, and then it just keeps going until it finds other targets in vicinity. So it's not unlike lightning storms you get now. When you see lightning coming down in slow motion, you can see the feelers coming down, and they're trying to find the first source of like ground or something to hit. And that's when things happen.
All right, moving on to Cyclone.
Okay. Cyclone has the power to create and control powerful cyclones at will. So basically this is vacuum.
Okay, guys, here's a problem.
Half of it.
Just looked up the difference between a cyclone, a typhoon, and a hurricane. In the North Atlantic and Northeast Pacific, they're called hurricanes. In the Northwest Pacific, it's a typhoon. And in the South Pacific and Indian Ocean, it's a cyclone. Therefore, Matanui is located in the South Pacific.
Figured it out.
Didn't we already establish?
Spirit, of course it's in the South Pacific. That's where we appropriated all the names from.
Say the Tohunga should have given that away.
Oh, the forbidden names.
Like it was coming.
Papua New Guinea are not happy with us right now.
Oh boy, they coming.
So, what does cyclone and weather control? That's the same thing, basically.
Well, no.
Up early.
Creating and controlling cyclones as compared to weather control, which is just
Yeah,
creating
control.
weather. Yeah. This is essentially the Red Tornado from DC versus Storm nerfed. That's pretty much how I see it.
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty easy to overcome as a Toa. I mean, it's like a more powerful version, but oh no, it's a hurricane. Maybe we'll get some property damage.
I think what they wanted to say was tornado as compared to cyclone.
Oh, maybe.
All right, tornado.
Tornadoes are a completely different phenomenon. They're not always rain-based, but they can be.
This is true.
Well, most of them are usually
One of the Roxy Kaita have a cyclone ability too, or just kind of did a spinneroonie.
Yeah, the Roxy Kaita. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
That makes
can
a lot of
stick
sense.
together, what is it? Fear, poison, and anger, and get
And
cyclone.
then spin it really
Yes.
fast.
I don't understand. Why is it? Why? You
Why do
already
we-
have weather control. Why do we have cyclone?
I don't
So
know.
dumb.
All right, we're
there's too
definitely
many.
moving on. I say we
It's
don't
bad.
need cyclone.
Yeah. It's like you can.
Too bad for
It's
just
bad.
being bad. Go away.
Besides, usually when you use a cyclone, you're usually pushing things away from you. Isn't that the exact opposite of what you want to do when you're trying to infect Kanohi?
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Yeah,
It's
this
bad.
is bad.
Next,
Moving
we
on
have
to another bad one.
density control.
Yeah,
Control over your own density and that of any object in physical contact. So you can literally change the properties of it to make it stronger.
Okay,
Or
so
not necessarily stronger, but you can also make it flexible as well.
my not real dyslexia, sorry, I don't actually have it, but I read that as destiny control, and I was like, oh, that opens up a can of Krata.
Yeah.
That would have been so much worse. Has the ability to control its own destiny. Oh boy, that just breaks everything. No, it's density. Okay.
Yes. It is
Unity,
basically
duty,
what
density.
molecular restructure. Basically, it's doing the same thing that molecular disruptor is doing, except it's not forcing the molecules to separate. It's just basically you're turning into a user of the Kakama Nuba, being able to go through walls and stuff.
Yeah, I wish we'd seen more of this. I like this one.
It's not
Yeah.
bad. Or it could also be similar to a further one down the line with a limited invulnerability. You could theoretically turn your density to be stronger than Protosteel.
Well,
I forgot about limited invulnerability. I'll rant about that later.
We're coming
my
back
God.
to that one.
Okay, what if a density
the Rahi
control?
knew, right?
Huh?
Like he doesn't have control over his own density, so he eventually just drifts apart.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Who does that happen to?
The Rahi Nui.
Right. No. Doesn't it also happen to one of the Makuta?
Oh, yeah, in 2008. I think that's how they kill Icarax. I think that's how Goras kills
Yeah.
Right,
Forces
by
him
using the mass that disrupts their ability.
Do you think like
And his
Makuta?
atoms basically separate.
Okay, so it does show up a lot. It just is only a bad guy power.
Right.
Do you think
Alright,
Makuta
moving
would just
on.
like sit on like a scale and realize he was 5 pounds heavier than he thought he was when he last time he looked? He just goes, and he uses power of density to up it a bit.
Oh, that's good.
This is
Yeah,
the
I
Roxy of
definitely
self.
think Destiny's good. We should move on next. Next is
Chameleon.
Chameleon. Has the ability to become completely invisible in any environment. Ooh. So this is another one that shares its power with at least 2 Kanohi.
Yeah, what a weird way of doing things. Like we already have invisibility. Just make it invisibility.
Right. I would
Yeah,
have.
it's just a pattern that
I
matches the
suppose
environment.
maybe weaker forms would be sort of like it just changes its color a little bit. And then now it's completely invisible. You can't even see it. But no doubt you can still see its shadow.
Also, chameleons don't color change for camouflage. That's an urban legend.
I was
so-
wondering. I don't think they do that.
Like they change their color to become more visible so that they can attract mates. It's literally the opposite of what you think chameleon is.
So the Krata just goes around changing his shape, like, let me smash.
Oh, love is not
this is
canon.
great.
Love is not canon. Love is not canon.
It is now, Swert. You can't hide it any longer.
All right. I would say based on that, I mean, this is a good power, but bad name.
Yeah.
No, bad power. I don't know.
All right. So is it yes or no?
No. Look, we've already got invisibility and stealth. This is a worse version of both of those.
All right, fine. It's a no. All right, moving on. Accuracy. This is another one that eventually becomes a Kanohi power. It can strike the smallest target at a great distance in any environment or condition. So essentially it allows you to strike an arrow through a rainstorm and hit literally the small little cork off of a wine bottle from 50 yards away.
Yeah, but how's a Krata do that?
Right. Like, I mean, as a Makuta, this would be pretty useful. But, like, what's a Krata or a Roxy doing with accuracy?
Does it have a tiny little bow and arrow, or does it have, like, just a
No.
sniper?
I like the idea that the other Roxy carry around this Krata and they throw it at people to infect them.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's great.
That would actually be very broken, actually. Being able to just say, okay, I'm going to create a Krata, and now as soon as it gets to stage 6, I'm going to throw it, and I'm going to hit every Matoran's mask. I just have to go pick up this Krata every time.
Well, I mean, we were talking about earlier about how they can infect masks at a distance, right? Maybe this helps with that a little bit.
Right. I think I know what's happening here. It's because when they wrote up Makuta's powers, they said, oh, well, they need to have accuracy control. And then they said, oh, wait, crap, we also have to make Krata powers. All right, I guess we'll let it go.
So, yes, no?
As a Krata, no. As everything else, yes.
I'm gonna say
as a throw Krata, as a
idea, but if you go back to Swert's idea of shooting a cork off a wine bottle in a rainstorm, like why wouldn't you just throw a bolt of lightning over there and blow it up? Like what do you ever need to be accurate about?
Yeah. Or even better, why don't you just melt it with plasma? You've got that. Melt everything.
Yeah. So no on accuracy.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Rahi and insect controls, 2 separate things.
Why are they separate? Why are they different? Aren't the insects Rahi?
Rahi control has absolute control over every living Rahi in the near area. Insect control has powerful enough to control and command an entire hive of Nuirama, which are also, you guessed it, Rahi.
All right, I'm going to translate this so that my brain stops hurting. I'm going to say that Rahi control can control an animal. Insect control can control swarms.
No, I mean, I was going to say the same thing as you, Chols, but then when you read it, it says has absolute control over every living Rahi, not any living Rahi.
Oh, wait. Yep.
Yep.
You control the horde of Kikanala, too. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
also, why do you need to infect Nohi if you could control every single Rahi anyway?
Right.
Because we tried that already, Swert. It didn't work.
And also, mind control exists. That's like its main use is to mind control the Rahi. Like this is.
I mean, they don't have mind control. So they have mind reading.
Right. But the Komau controls minds. That's the only use we see is to control the Nui Kopen as they're flying home from the hive. Like,
right.
Why would they make these? There's so many other things they could have done.
These are bad. Stupid. I'm okay with Rahi control as a power. I would have replaced insect control.
Was this just like to have a little more things in a blind bag so that people would, not feel bad about getting something silly? Like if the kid on the playground's like, "Ooh, I got the Krata of Fragmentation," and the poor kid's like, "Oh, I only got the one of Disintegration," but that's the same thing. I don't know. I'm trying to make this work.
There's already ice resistance in there, so
what it gets me is that eventually the Mask of Rahi control becomes canon, but we've already got the Mask of Mind control that does the same thing. Why is it here? I hate this.
Make it stop.
All right, so we're definitely saying no to both.
Yes, just for
both.
Yes,
you control, but whatever, man.
All right, no to both. Moving on. Next, we have the Krata of Stasis Field. Has the power to freeze a creature in a near permanent stasis through eye contact. Oh, could you imagine going through the bushes and looking down, and you just see 2 eyes, and then that's it. You're stuck.
Okay. Like, why would
maintain eye contact?
Freeze you if it wants to infect you? Like, what good are you frozen?
Easier to infect.
I guess.
I guess that's what the whole point about near permanent. It could release you, but you're the only one that can be released, I guess.
I think it means that you have to maintain eye contact. Like the Krata has to stare you down, and then you're frozen, and then it spits on your mask.
I guess.
Oh, like the hypnotizing spiders?
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
All right. Reading it like that, fine. Okay. What do we got next?
Well, we're definitely saying though that stasis field is a no.
No, I think yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in stasis field versus sleep, what is the difference?
Stasis field is a little more direct, and like, I mean, I assume putting someone to sleep takes longer.
Probably.
I don't know. No, I forgot about sleep actually. So yeah, no, rescinded on stasis field. Stasis field can go to hell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't,
Stasis field's out. Sleep
like,
is
do you
on.
just not
Got it.
age? Is that what the difference is?
I mean, it's similar to, I guess, that Toa that's stuck in the stasis field in the Shadow One's realm, I guess. Or,
Right, but what's a stasis field?
We never did get a name for that back.
stasis fields are normally just like cryostasis sort of thing.
It keeps
Yeah.
you. You can't move. You can't think. You can't really do anything.
So it's
Right.
sleep. You're asleep.
Essentially. Only
sleep,
you're
you
stuck
can
in
wake
a
up.
field or some sort of device that'll basically keep you from aging as well.
Right, but aging is irrelevant in Bionicles, so I
This is
don't
true.
understand why it exists.
All right,
Everybody's tens of
moving
thousands
on.
of years old.
We'll say no on Space's field. Moving on. Here is the limited invulnerability. Absolutely invulnerable to physical harm of any kind.
So that's the level 6 description, and I accidentally read the level 5 description. Strong enough to resist the elemental powers of the Toa Nuva. Why does this one exist if we also have fire and ice resistance? It doesn't make any sense. Who wrote this?
I just like this. I just like to picture like a Makuta who like uses this powers particularly, and he's like, "You can't defeat me. I am invulnerable." It's like, you can still be hurt, buddy.
For
You're just not
approximately
weak.
See, I just like the idea of 42 different people being told to come up with a power and then just all getting smushed together.
Like everybody gets to participate
that
in this.
might
today.
have been what happened.
And also, the power is called limited invulnerability. The description for level 6, absolutely invulnerable to physical harm of any kind. So it's
Not-
complete invulnerability. What is
Not-
this?
I'm assuming it's a limited time. Like you have to be focusing or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a star. That's all it is.
Yo, what would happen if we found out that like these powers were like made from like some like something they did with like Danish schools or something? Like they got a bunch of children to like make up powers. It's like you get to contribute to this thing for Lego, and now we're just making fun of children.
Well, you know what? They get what they deserve.
Hey, that's fine. They're growing up now. They can take it. Sorry, I slammed my desk. I got
You're fine. So no on the limited invulnerability.
Well, I guess it's useful
Oh, it's great.
It is useful, but for what?
for
Not
anything.
dying.
being
That's
invulnerable.
pretty much it.
We're saying that these Krata, like we're specifically talking about Krata powers here. Like it's pretty useful to be able to go about your day without worrying about anything hurting you.
Remember when I asked, is there a metapod stage of these guys? This is the metapod.
Yeah, you're not
It's
wrong.
hardened.
Isn't this one of the Paraka powers too? I feel like you could say this about literally
I mean,
everything.
you can say this about everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's probably a mask of limited invulnerability if you look deep enough. There isn't, but there could have been.
Who
Yeah,
has?
right. there could have been. And instead we
I
got
guess technically this is the mask of shielding, though.
I'm thinking adaptation. That's what Radak has.
I was
Alright.
thinking of kinetic absorption, which is kind of
Yeah.
All right,
that-
so moving on, we have Power Scream. Sorry to
Is
cut
this
you
one
off.
good or bad?
Power Scream.
Power
Yeah.
Scream
Power Scream's good.
shatters stone and can be heard all across an island.
Oh wait, that's actually not great. If
That-
everybody can hear you across the entire island, you can be like, "Oh, I'm not going over there now."
Oh, the barking
Nope.
slugs are out again.
So I would say this is probably a no, but at the same time, it is much more powerful than Sonic's was.
I think it's got a lot of applications. Well, if you can scream loud enough to turn stone into dust, I mean that's even more effective than
Well,
disintegration.
no, you're shattering the stone. You're not turning it to
Yeah.
dust. So it's
Well,
fragmentation.
when you shatter stone, what does it turn into?
It turns into
We're
shrapnel.
almost done. I'm not even going to turn the timer back
Nah,
on.
we
We're just
go,
gonna
we
keep
go,
going.
we
We got to finish. And thank you, Game Pass. I know that there's games on there.
Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts.
This podcast is brought to you by Game Pass.
No, it's not.
Can be brought to you by Square Enix. Let's go, Kingdom Hearts.
All right, Power Scream. So I think the difference is Sonic's is more, like I said earlier, Black Canary. This is more of the character from the Inhumans.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Is it?
No, I don't know any
Black
of them.
Bolt.
Okay.
That's who it is. Yeah, Marvel's version of it. Basically, he can't even talk because everything he says will destroy everything.
Well, I feel
he
like
whispers and it still hurts.
You would have control over this of either you're using Power Scream or you're not.
Right. No, I think this is just, like I said, it's the difference between Black Canary and Black Bolt. That's the main difference.
So yeah,
how powerful can they be?
They just scream loudly.
Yeah. All right, I would say no on Power Scream myself. It's not useful. If you can be heard anywhere.
I mean, it is useful. Yeah, I think that the drawbacks are too.
I like the wanton destruction of it. I want to say yes, but I also want to move forward.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Personally, I would love to hook up a couple of Power Scream Krata and some Sonic Kratas to speakers and be like, okay, I'm going to rock out, and that's where Roxy Rocks finally comes in.
Which brings us to our next one, silence.
No, dodge.
Dodge!
Dang.
Dodge!
Would have been nice.
It's possible to physically strike no matter how swiftly or powerfully.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh,
yeah.
So could you use a Mask of Fate to take on the Krata of Dodge?
I was more thinking a Mask of Accuracy. So if you have you have a stage 6 Krata of accuracy and a stage 6 Krata of dodge, like who hits who?
Exactly.
The answer is they surrender.
If you get like both of them in the same blind bag, they like never touch each other and they're just like bouncing around.
They're just at two sides of the wall against each other.
Yep. It's like just rattling as you take it up to the counter at Toys R Us. It's like,
you're like, is this magnetism?
No, this is a good one.
Okay, but here's the question. Can you put together... Oh, okay. Could you put a Krata of accuracy on one side and a Krata of dodge on the other side, hook them up to a dynamo? Do you get infinite in electricity?
No, you
can use a Krata of electricity for that.
Yeah. Okay, electricity is not a problem in this universe where like everything's they got all this figured out.
You're not wrong. Okay, anyway, but they could turn a windmill.
I guess.
Dodge, yes.
Right.
No?
Dodge is a good
Dodge
one.
Is good.
Dodge is good.
We like it.
All right. Silence. Aura of silence is powerful enough to temporarily deafen a Toa Nuva. But could it deafen the Power Scream? That's all we need to know.
Probably.
I'm going to say yes. It's like a cone of silence. It's like nothing can be heard, the somatic in there.
You know, you said cone of silence. The first thing that comes to my mind is the device from Get Smart. They get
exactly what I think of, where it like doesn't go down all the way. It's like, yeah.
I guess it's got like some specific applications, like you can't call for help, but
it is actually useful for that purpose. Yes,
you could sneak up on people, but for Roxy, like then what?
Smack.
You know, it's a good question. All right, I would say for silence, yes, it's a good one. Roxy, maybe not so much, but we could talk about that eventually.
But as a Kanohi power, it was kind of lame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next is Adaptation. We are almost done with these. Adaptation instantly adapts to take maximum advantage of any condition or situation.
A whole lot of words in there that said nothing.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, let's grade this for a second.
Take advantage of the maximum advantage of conditions of the situations and the advantage. What?
All right.
Somebody was trying to finish their
Level 4 makes the most sense. Able to thrive in any environment, from treetop to seafloor.
Why would you go even past stage 4?
Well, I don't know.
Because it's funny. You look up the
at that
ones.
point. Why would you go past stage 4?
No, how does the stage 1 even survive? Oh, it just. Oh wait, no, that's sleep. Adaptation. Adjust quickly to environmental extremes such as heat and cold. It's heat resistance.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, and then you have stage 5, which is capable of control physical transformation to adapt to the unexpected. So, I mean, basically, it's saying like, I'm about to be underwater. Let me.
So it's doing better than shapeshifting at that point.
Still, though, this is pretty underpowered.
It's like it
you could adapt to any condition.
That's about it. I'm still going to give it a no.
Yeah,
I would have to give it a no on principle alone.
And I like the idea. I like where they were going with it, but yeah, like given everything else now, it's not great.
Yeah. All right, we're giving that a no. Moving on. Next is slow.
One of the few powers to actually show up in the story.
This is true.
Does it?
Yeah, when Makuta is Maxilos and he's fighting the Baraki, he at one point uses slow on Caraper. Oh, it was a really good fight actually.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have
Cool.
no memory of that.
In 2007, it was one of the books.
Yeah,
Yes,
in the
it
book.
was the same. It was Downfall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Downfall was good.
I'll take
when
your
he-
word for it.
Yeah,
It's
it
fine.
happened.
Able to rob even a Toa Nuva of all speed as long as it remains nearby. So this is essentially taking away all the speed. This is the type of power you use against, say, the Flash to keep him from running around.
Or Pohatu.
Yeah.
In this case,
To use a more relevant example.
Hey.
So like, yeah, I guess this could beat out like Pohatu's speed. Like it's like nope.
So
you don't get. To
I was about to say, sorry. Is this one of the few that can counter a Kanohi? Because there's a few that counter Kanohi. Like the Hunger will counter a Pakari. This counters the Kakama. There's nothing that really counters water breathing.
Vacuum.
Yeah.
Breathe this.
Apparently, actually, if you activate the Cow on land, you will drown.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because you give yourself gills and now you're in the air. You silly Billy.
Right. So that's why I almost came up with an idea of what if you were to use like the Mask of Disruption or using a disruption power to activate the Kanohi of your opponent and just suffocate them on land.
See, this is why we gave that mask like F tier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty bad.
I think that's why we did that.
Yeah,
Was
here's
it-
a counter. Kanko. Chain lightning.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely a counter.
counters everything.
Um,
Yeah.
How about
Slow,
a
is,
Slow good.
slow is good.
I think it's cool.
Like I'm sure we've all had that nightmare where like you need to run from or to something, but like your legs just turn into jelly and you're just running very slowly. That's horrible. Like
I've had that nightmare combined with the
that's just
nightmare of
because you have
not
a
being
Kraata
able to talk, and it's terrible.
This
yeah.
just turned into a therapy session.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yes.
that's when you have a Kraata of density control on your leg and it just turns your leg into a literal jelly.
We're gonna have a podcast just all us talking about our fears and our nightmares.
What's your
Oh,
biggest fear? Please don't send it to me.
Just remember, to all the people in mass posting, I realize we also were talking a lot about dreams. I have personally not had the dream.
Oh, the
Mhm.
dream where you walk into a store and there's new Bionicles or maybe old
Yes.
Bionicles on the shelf.
Yes.
What? You haven't had that dream? It's like my
Oh,
dream
no.
every night.
I know I was gonna say like I dream that fairly often.
I have had several dreams where I'm in Bionicle.
I can
Like,
I've
sleepwalk
never
on
had that dream.
Actually, I had the dream either. Interesting.
I've had it maybe twice where I was
Hmm.
actually a Toa. We're talking much earlier, back in like say 2004 or 5. So I was a little younger and a lot more into it at the time, like super into the idea of writing my own stories about it.
I slept walked over a bunch of Legos as a kid.
Oh my
I'm
gosh. How are you alive?
I know I'm very damaged.
Fear right there. Oh boy.
All right, we're moving on to the last two. So the next one is Confusion. Extended proximity can reduce even a Toa Nuva to mindless babbling. So that's our problem right now. That's what our whole conversation's been
I think we have one of these in here somewhere. Let me go check. Let me go
Yeah.
find it.
Somebody go get a Taraga,
Go get a fly swatter. Gosh dang it!
right?
I mean, that's,
I'm
that's
okay with
pretty
that one.
effective. I mean, 30% chance of hitting yourself in confusion. That's
Yeah, that's annoying. Like, yeah, this is Pokemon rules. Yeah.
Yep.
Plus, you also
I
can't
think
talk.
it's
It's like,
pretty
he's like, what happened? We're like, good plug. Yeah.
The question is, can it be countered with a Rao, a great version?
mindless babbling, so there's not a language behind it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Ain't
So this is
nothing
much
in
closer to the incomprehension as compared to comprehension.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, why didn't you just call it the Mask of Confusion?
That sounds cool. Master Confusion. Yeah.
Because I didn't create it. It was Bones.
Can we
And
get
you know how
Bones on this
Bones can be.
podcast? I got some questions for him.
No, we cannot get Bones on this podcast.
Ooh.
Special guest
Hey, what's
coming
this?
next episode.
Yeah, I got some questions for him. It's a knuckle
Okay.
sandwich.
Confusion. Good? Bad?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like it. Yeah, no, I think it's good.
It's pretty solid
offensive
as a product.
ability. Yeah.
Although, did we put Illusion on the good list?
You'd have to scroll up.
The Illusion. Yeah, we put Illusion on the good list.
Because Confusion and Illusion,
Well, that's a very
Two
different
similar.
separate
form of
powers, but they're
manipulation.
also separate outcomes. Think about it. Illusion will force you to think that something's there. Confusion will just make you not talk very well.
Confusion just makes you dumb.
Okay,
It's like,
I'll take it.
Now you're stupid. Yeah.
Plus, I
It is essentially
like more than one illusion. I would have a hard time as seeing multiple people subjected to the same illusion.
yes. Confusion just affects practically everybody because it's a proximity. Yeah. Last one here is, of course, sleep. Has the power to instantly put an entire village into deep sleep.
Yeah, that's
Man,
good.
this is another
That's
one of those beneficial Roxy powers. I'll take that tonight, please.
Yes, please put me to sleep.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
one
yeah.
you can put in a vial, as Choli was suggesting. Absolutely.
Yes, this is the
Here's the
Roxy of
question.
Melatonin.
Could we put a Krata of sleep up on Barra Magna and give it to the Iron Tribe? Would they have been fine? Or would they still not have dreams?
Oh no, it wasn't the lack of sleep; it was the lack of dreams, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, you gotta get that REM sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this will put him in deep sleep.
Yeah, but there
Well,
was
deep sleep
will not
is not REM sleep. It's different.
go
This
to
is
the
the science
dreams.
portion of the podcast. There are different levels of sleep. You've got light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. And you only dream in REM sleep. This will not make you dream. Side effects may include not dreaming.
You know what, though? That would have absolutely cured a lot of other problems, tossing a few of these Krata up on the planet. And that would have gotten rid of that entity. I don't remember the name of it. Nobody remembers the name of it. And then it gets all the dreams. What?
No, but there wasn't. It's not preventing them from being able to sleep, just from dreaming.
No. That's my point. If you put him in deep sleep instead of REM sleep, it would have just had nothing to eat on and then go away anyway.
Well, maybe that was the plan for one of the serials that never came out.
So it's a good one, right?
I would say it's a good one. It's putting the entire village to sleep, and then it just walks around and infects every single one of their masks.
Yeah, this is
devastating.
very overpowered.
Oh, yeah. All right, so we just need to figure out the chart of percentages, figure out what we have.
Yeah, so
Crunch the numbers real quick.
I'm afraid we'll need to use math.
Wait a minute.
When we were told math would be in everyday life.
Where's the Roxy?
It is.
Where's the Krata of Nike shoes? Makes you run faster.
Orange Krata.
Moving
Oh,
on.
there were. That was the Toanuva shoes. Don't forget.
No, that was in the Roxy shoes. The Toanuva just had the caps. Yeah, the Roxy shoes had the just the Roxy head.
Did anyone here get any Bionicle clothing?
I did not.
I have a Bionicle hat.
I have a pair of Bionicle socks.
I knew a kid. Well, I guess I knew a kid when I worked at summer camp. So I would have been in my late teens, early 20s, who had a Bionicle hat. So already at this point, Bionicle was dying or dead. So I wonder what the story was there. Like, was it an older sibling?
Older sibling,
Mystery.
or could be the equivalent of Goodwill, whatever it was for you in Canada.
Yeah,
unless
I still wear my Bionicle hat sometimes, and like people see it and they're like, "Is that Bionicle?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And I'm like, "Yes."
Oh, you know what? I technically do have Bionicle shirts. They're the G2 ones.
Yeah.
And I have been wearing them around, and people are stopping and like, "Oh, I remember Bionicle." Oh, do you?
I don't remember this Bionicle.
Not this one.
From G2,
They just see the Lego logo and then they see the Bionicle. It's like, "Oh wow, what is that?" Like, do you not recognize this? No. What do you mean by Bionicle came back? And it's like, yeah, it's too late.
All right, so I did some numbers, and this is the part where Spirit and I realized we missed something because I'm probably off. But out of
I'm still keeping track.
Oh, okay. Out of 44 different types. Wait,
42.
No, shoot, 42. Sorry, I did some math wrong. Crap. But out of 42, we said 19 are good, and then the rest aren't. So honestly, that's pretty close. It's a pretty close split.
That's a pretty close split. Hang on. Let me go ahead and get my calculator. So 42 minus 19, 23. So 19 over 23. 19 divided by 23.
Buddy.
Did I do the math wrong?
No. I'm just being sarcastic. Keep going.
Okay. Maybe it's 19 over 42 is what I should be doing. Yeah, that's only 45%.
Yeah.
45% useful powers.
That ain't bad.
Whereas 23, that is 54, or let's call it rounded up to 55% useless powers in Krata.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, effectively, that means the Makuta are only about 45% effective.
Oh, I think they can. But they have all of them at once, so they can be like, "Oh, there's 1,000 ways I can kill you, and 941 of them hurt."
I was gonna say, join us next time when we discuss the other 941 painful things going on.
Oh, there's so many painful things. Make it stop.
Yeah, that should be an episode. Come up with 1,000 ways that Makuta could have destroyed Vakama, and
Everybody
1,000
submit
ways
your
to die in
ways.
Bionicle.
come up with what is it? 59? No, yeah, 59 ways that wouldn't hurt.
That don't hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
Please, the more creative, the better.
Oh, you know, I suppose technically just using molecular disruption and just having their atoms spread out across the distance, that probably doesn't hurt. You'd be dead.
No, that sounds incredibly painful.
Just do it.
Not necessarily. Depends on if you even feel the molecules happening. I suppose suffocating in a vacuum probably doesn't hurt.
Well, if it doesn't hurt, it sounds like we found a volunteer for our next experiment.
Of course.
I guess being struck by lightning probably hurts.
Oh, that really hurts.
Though if you strike them straight in the heart rate,
at some point need to go. So
I think we are definitely done here.
We're done. We're
So-
done.
Thank you for joining us. I'm going to say follow us on social media, follow us on here. Feel free to subscribe to our Patreon. Really appreciate the support of all the patrons.
Keep those servers up.
Absolutely. And it allows us to also continue to do stuff like rant about Kraata powers for the last 2 hours.
You're getting your money's worth, I swear.
This is definitely the longest episode. All
Get
right.
it this far.
Thanks for
We
joining
can be real.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave it. Actually, if you want, if you get to this point, leave a comment down below. Let us know. Hey, did we get it wrong? We probably did, but we don't think so. This has been Swert,
This has been Chols against his will.
this has been Dorek.
And Spirit.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.